Happy Tuesday, everybody. I'm Peter Brown here with Miguel Concepcion. Hello.
Hi.
We're going to play Final Fantasy XII today. We do streams every day at 11 a.m. And, Final Fantasy XII Remastered the Zodiac Age. Is that the subtitle?
Yes.
That just came out today. So we're going to hop right into it. Miguel gave the game a 9 out of 10. There's a lot to talk about in this game, so let's hop over and see what we're working with.
So now we are in, I'd say, the middle of the game in this temple called the Still Shrine of Miriam. This, incidentally, is the, not to jump too far ahead, but this, incidentally, is the area where you can set your characters to auto-level farm.
Okay. Well, so before we get to that,
yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people know what Final Fantasy XII is, but for those who don't, what sort of sets us apart from other Final Fantasy games? Because it's pretty distinct.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it comes from many of the developers who worked on Vagrant Story and Final Fantasy Tactics. It is unusual for a mainline Final Fantasy for having built upon an existing game universe. But it's a really great universe to build off. Let's see.
But I guess what I'm getting at here, what I'm hinting at, is the combat system and the way that you sort of handle your characters and manage them in battle, because it's maybe more like an MMO than your regular Final Fantasy games.
Yeah, it's the Gambit system, which is unique to this game, and incidentally has never really been replicated in any other JRPGs I could think of. I mean, I think the Xenoblade games kind of have some degree of...
even then, like, kind of barely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's based on a command prioritization system where you work off on a whole bunch of if-then commands. In my review, I sort of describe it as a Fisher-Price level of programming, where basically all the things that you typically do in an RPG battle.
In your brain.
Yeah, in your brain. And typically, your best intentions, where, when you get a status ailment, you want... the conservative part of you always wants to cure yourself before you do anything else. Say, continue attacking an enemy. What you can do is set those kinds of status ailment fixes so that before your character resumes attacking,
so
all these things are being addressed.
So an event happens in battle, and essentially your party automatically reacts based on these things that you set up, which can be simple or complex, which is kind of going back to what you were saying about level farming, which, if I think you're talking about what I think you're talking about, is sort of one of the aspects that makes this game, broken, quote unquote. So how intense is that process to actually make it so you're basically leveling up automatically?
It's not. That's the beauty of the game. It's actually not too complex when you sort of understand what you have to do to level farm.
Okay.
Essentially, there's this one enemy in the temple who can summon these zombies, and all you got to do is let your party focus on the zombies and ignore this one demon that is summoning the zombies. That particular creature has hit points of beyond 3,000, so all you got to do is set your attack to only attack enemies below 3,000 hit points.
Gotcha.
So that's the way to guarantee that you won't kill the creature that's summoning the zombies.
Right. Gotcha. Okay. So you're gaining experience points or whatever based on individual actions, not on completing a battle. Is that what I'm hearing?
The experience?
Yeah, because you're talking about level grinding, but you're saying you also don't want to kill the monster.
Correct.
So is it like Tactics, Final Fantasy Tactics in that regard? For every individual action you take, you earn a little...
You earn experience with every enemy that you kill. So you'll get the experience to killing the zombies.
Oh, so okay, but they keep respawning zombies.
Correct.
Okay, that was the thing I was missing.
Right.
Gotcha. All right, so let's see some of this Gambit system in action.
So this is my party doing their thing. I am showing them pressing buttons on my controller.
Right. So then, here's a question I have. If you're able to sort of settle these things to work on their own, how does combat actually feel fulfilling? Is it the fact that you were able to come up with these, sort of automated processes?
Correct.
Is it the fact that you've leveled up enough? I mean, does it ever feel that things are just sort of maybe too passive?
No, actually, I mean, you do have to, keep an eye on your team. In fact, there's this enemy over here. They call it in a category called elementals that I intentionally ran away from because I believe this creature is actually too high leveled for me. So like a lot of a given like field of battle has a mix of enemies that you should be qualified to take on once you reach that area, but the map does try to throw in some curveballs with higher level enemies. This one, I guess I've leveled high enough that this guy didn't prove to be a problem, but when I first came to this area, he was definitely someone you wanted to avoid.
Okay, then. So is that kind of the biggest challenge you're going to face, is just these, curveballs? These really high-level enemies?
I mean, obviously, there's a lot of secrets to find in each given map. There's a hunting component in the game. It actually factors into the narrative where various folks from different parts of the world sent out these bounties, and you could hunt these high-level creatures. This one dragon is actually named after Matsuno, the one who the guy
Yasumi Matsuno, the game's one of the directors. He sort of left this project, but he was involved with Vagrant Story, with Final Fantasy Tactics, Ogre Battle,
and he was he's credited with, I guess, the story and the concept in the credits of this. I mean, overall, again, it goes back to the fact that you created these commands yourself. I mean, there is definitely this sense of ownership. Here's a situation where I probably could have taken these flying creatures a little bit more efficiently by setting a gambit where I would emphasize ranged attacks, because as you can tell, some of these melee attacks aren't hitting.
Yeah. So, give me a little bit of a primer on the story here, because unfortunately, as big of a fan I am of Matsuno and all the other guys he works with, who also worked on this game, I tend to sort of, every time I try to play 12, zone out within the first hour, because the story is just dumped upon you. So help me understand in simple terms what the plot is here. I know there's regicide, I know there's warring kingdoms. So how is it different than Final Fantasy 15, which has a very similar beginning?
Well, it's definitely not a road trip,
right?
In Final Fantasy 12 sense. Basically, a lot of the main players, specifically the folks in your party, are basically folks who were sort of caught in the crossfire of this war between these two large kingdoms. Because there were two smaller kingdoms in between these larger kingdoms. Let me make sure I got the... Nalbania and Dalmasca are the two smaller kingdoms. Ash here, the girl I'm controlling, she's the princess of Dalmasca. And the two larger kingdoms are Rosaria and Arcadia.
So there is a big war, and there are small players caught in the middle.
Right.
What the hell can these guys do? What do they have to actually?
Let's see here. The guy with the spear, Bosch, he is this disgraced and framed general who worked for Dalmasca, and he, along with the rest of the party, is helping Ash find essentially proof of her legitimacy to the throne.
I see. Okay.
Because it's established pretty early on in the game that people thought that she had killed herself out of grief for losing her husband in the war.
Okay. But is she related to the king that's murdered at the start of the game?
He is her daughter. And she's a princess.
I'm just trying to make sure we're talking about the same kingdom here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
No,
boy.
I mean, that's the beauty and the downside of these games set in Ivalice. You know, you're just on one hand, it's a lot to take in. On the other hand, you know, you just I mean, I'm coming from the perspective of wanting to learn as much as I can just so I can understand things.
Yeah.
And one of the things I mentioned in my review is how it does feel like a middle episode to a much larger saga, which is sort of like how Vagrant Story feels.
Mm-hmm.
There's sort of I haven't played Final Fantasy Tactics in a while, but there's also the implication that there's like so much going on building up.
Sorta. It actually
events.
it starts you off in the middle of an event, like which is you could call the middle chapter of a story, and then it kicks you back to the events before that, leading up to it. But then it also skips ahead and jumps over that initial midpoint. It's definitely, yeah. I mean, Matsuno knows how to make his games confusing. I don't think that's what he's going for, but I'd say he definitely has a problem with like having names that are very similar to one another. Because there's like two of the kingdoms have like a name that is basically identical.
Nabradia and Nalbina.
Yeah, come on. Matsuno.
Yeah. And I mean, one's an actual kingdom, and the other one's like a capital
Yeah.
of a different kingdom.
So just to remind folks, we are playing Final Fantasy XII, The Zodiac Age. This is the remastered version of the PlayStation 2 game, which has a bunch of new changes to it beyond just the graphics. And one of them I actually wanted to ask about is the license board.
Right.
Kind of a controversial aspect of the game, maybe even beyond the way the Gambit system works. But the license board is used to literally allow you to equip certain items or use certain items even.
Correct.
I mean, everything that you're going to learn or wear, you have to navigate this.
Right.
Which, is this confusing?
It's not confusing. I mean, you could argue that the whole idea of having to earn the qualifications to earn, like, say, level 1 armor, it seems like you could have saved a step, but at the same time, one benefit of the license board is that it helps make each character specialize in a certain job field.
Okay.
I would say overall it's an improvement over the original job board, because if everyone maxed out their board, it was a shared board in the original game.
Then everyone could have been the same, and there's
Sort of just like makes it a little boring.
Mhm.
There's a point, I think maybe 1/3 into the game, where you get your first Esper, which is this game's version of Summons, where you're able to select your second job. Now, here's the license board selection screen, which has been enhanced over the international version of Final Fantasy XII that came out like a year or two after the original version,
Right.
which had 10 jobs. Now there's 12. Me wanting to explore the different types of jobs, I wanted to give everyone a different job. Though, if you wanted everyone to be a knight, if you wanted everyone to be a monk, you could have done that. But in the case of my first playthrough, I wanted to just try everything out.
So there are 6 characters, 12 jobs total, and
Correct.
you have the chance for each character to have 2 jobs.
Correct.
Can you alter your choices after you pick a job?
Nope.
So
It's locked in.
That is weird to me, but it's kind of risky from like a game development standpoint. When you're considering a game this big, it's very much it feels like the original Final Fantasy in that regard, where it's like you gotta choose a path, man, like right now, at the very start of the game. Do you find that feels restricting, or is there enough to explore?
Well, for me to play devil's advocate, I mean, you will be forced to pick your initial job. And you'll have the chance to preview all the different boards.
Yeah, but so when I was playing this and I previewed the board, I was like, that's cool. I have no idea what the hell I'm looking at. So even though I previewed it, does that do any good for a new player? Because it's really hard to understand.
Well, I think if you have some background in role-playing games, you should be able to spot...
Man, you're throwing shade right now. I've got background in role-playing games.
Oh my gosh.
Damn.
You know, I just learned the term throwing shade maybe like 6 months ago.
I think that's kind of where, right around its
probably a little
origination.
older.
Maybe
Yeah.
it's a little bit older, but
Man, it's
it's code for you're being passive aggressive
I didn't
as
well,
F right now.
Totally didn't mean to. My gosh. Well, if you had problems getting into it, then
No, don't.
I mean a lot.
I mean, look, I don't know if the game really goes. I don't remember it going out of its way to kind of explain this stuff to me. I mean, does it take a little bit of trial and error to really sort of feel like you get the hang of this?
Right. I mean, understanding that your characters need armor, accessories is always a bonus.
And where this stuff even comes from. Like when I was looking at some things, it was like, okay, maybe this item I'll want to equip it, but I don't know if I'm even going to get that item. Like, is it gifted to me when I unlock it on the job board? No, so I have to.
You have to go into the shops.
Right.
But
is it just in the shops? Like, do you find equipment from enemies?
You can find them you can find them in the field. Like, rarely through enemies, but these little chests here.
Yeah.
There's it's semi-randomized. Sometimes you'll get gil. Sometimes you will get items. Sometimes you'll get really, really rare accessories.
So talk to me about this one rare, I think it's a lance or something like that.
Zodiac lance, I did not get it in this one.
Okay, so, but what, like, how does that particular item work? It's like one box in the beginning of the game that you're not supposed to open it, and then at the end of the game, if you open it, you might get the lance?
You're supposed, this happens in the original game, where you had to avoid opening certain chests.
Diabolical.
Yeah,
awful.
There was no way for anyone to. The game doesn't hint or guide you as to which chests you should avoid. So that's one of the things I really dislike. That's pretty much the only thing I really disliked about the original game.
Yeah.
The fact that I think you needed to get the walkthrough to learn how to do it, and it was interesting, but it wasn't getting that spear, the Zodiac spear, was not essential for beating the game.
Right. It was just like a little like kudos kind of a thing. You know, for caring enough to maybe replay it with a walkthrough or dive deep. I mean, I was reading an interview with one of the guys who's sort of the principal behind the remastered version, who also worked on the original game. I mean, his life has been Final Fantasy XII almost forever. And he was saying, like, yeah, we decided not to take out, for example, the experience farming glitch, because we actually like having those things in there. These sort of quirky, like, why did they do this? It almost seems unfair, but it's like a rewarding challenge somehow. They wanted to give players that opportunity to break the game. And so, like, the absolute value of that, but the opposite version is burying an item in a chest that you need to open random, or not open random. It's absurd.
And as far as I know, that is not in the Zodiac Age.
Really?
Yes.
So then you can't get the item at all?
I believe you. I didn't go far enough. As I said in my byline, I only put in like 50 hours in.
Yeah, only.
But I believe I've heard that earning it is going to be a lot easier. Okay. Whether you like buy it later on, you can earn it later on.
Yeah.
One of the things I did want to mention are some of the enhancements to the game. Aside from the cleaned up textures and the high definition visuals, watching me play right now is almost jarring, because I've been playing at normal speed, and I've been playing at 4 times speed. When you start playing using the fast forward options, when you go back to the normal speed, it almost looks like Ash.
Slow-mo, yeah.
Ash is like running through water.
Yeah, so what Miguel's referring to is the game lets you speed up the action by 2 times or 4 times to help the process of these automated battles just go by, and to run around the field faster. This is 2x, right?
Yes.
Now kick it up to 4.
And if you...
But you can just do that with a button press, right? It's not...
Well, you have to choose...
Like a maximum?
Yeah, you have to settle on a maximum. But if you play some of these maps, I mean, if you've covered a lot of these maps like thoroughly, you've checked every corner, you've opened up every chest, which, by the way, actually respawns and have new and have new contents every time they respawn. You pretty much have like a nice, like, getting around at 4 times speed is actually not.
You just completed,
hard to get
I
used
think, 2 battles,
Right.
in like the blink of an eye.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I look forward to possibly getting Ash, who's my highest level character, to level 99, like, even before hitting the 60-hour mark of the game, which, like, looking back on my original playthrough, it's kind of crazy, because I think I got my first level 99 character in the original game. It probably took me at least 120 hours.
So I want to know, is this the best looking cast in all of Final Fantasy? Everyone is pretty freaking attractive in this game. Look at them all.
Yeah. They're pretty attractive, and I love that they I love that they you know, they're all consistent with sort of the Ivalice aesthetic.
Yes, which has a lot to do with the involvement of Akihiko Yoshida, who's also the illustrator behind games like Bravely Default.
The noseless wonders.
The noseless wonders. And Final Fantasy 14 as well. And 11, for that matter.
Let's see.
Yeah, which character is Bae? Goob wants to know. And we have to answer, Goob. We can't leave him hanging.
Okay. I'd say Ash.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know Fran has a really big following.
Yes, I'm... a girl who wears sort of a cat bunny...
One thing that I find very fast... I don't know... I would love to talk to the localization team on how they settled on her Bjork accent for the English voice acting.
Oh, great.
I mean, I know nothing about Japanese accents. So, I mean, I don't know if she has a very eccentric one.
Huh.
But yeah, that also does bring up the option to actually change the music. I mean, the voice acting to Japanese on the fly. And I believe, and interestingly enough, the soundtrack's been great, you know, Hitoshi Sakamoto.
Yeah.
But this entire time, we've actually been playing in the original, using the original music. I'm switching to reorchestrated. Interesting thing about the toggling is that the orchestrated music doesn't appear immediately. It actually sort of fade. It takes about 5 seconds for it to fade in.
Nice.
It's great playing through headphones because you could. It just sounds like you can hear sort of like the fullness, a lot of the low frequency and bass.
Sure.
From the orchestrated soundtrack.
So where are we in the world right now? What are we looking at?
We are in. This is a part of the game where we had to make our way to that shrine that we started in. This is the path that you had to go to get this other piece of that proved Fran's Ash's legitimacy to the throne. Let's see.
Does Fran's outfit ever come up? Because I'm saying. Heels and a bathing suit. It's probably not the best way to run around the snow. I'm sure they never address it, do they?
No.
Of course.
No.
Of course.
Yeah, it's pretty impractical.
Yes.
I am going to try to find... What's the best way to get to... So the fact that we're in a snowstorm also brings to attention the fact that some of these outdoor areas have changing weather systems, which also affect the kinds of enemies that you'll encounter.
Is it like in order of like a lot of enemies, or just maybe a couple?
A couple, particularly more hostile enemies appear. By T-Rex. They appear after more hostile enemies appear in the more hostile weather systems. Sure. Going back to the progression and the fact that we're playing at 4 times the speed and like getting through these enemies rather quickly. As you can see from killing each one, we get two sort of progression rewards. One being LP, which
Right.
stands for license point. You get a minimum of 1 per character. I mean, per kill. But some enemies who are harder will sometimes offer 2. Interestingly enough, LP that you get with each kill, everyone in your group, all 6 of them actually earn that LP.
That's good. Okay.
As opposed to experience, which only applies to the active players,
Right.
Active characters.
The ones who actually make the difference. In
Right.
combat.
Yeah,
And you're not all pulling from the same LP pool.
correct.
Right. Console hot. We are running the game at 4 times the normal speed. Because why the hell not? I'm curious if we are coming up to any sort of story stuff, because I would like to see how the cutscenes and the voice acting and the characters actually
We can
play
do
out.
that.
Touch the crystal. Link. Touch the crystal, Link.
Is that an actual line?
It is in my head.
I can't believe I threw shit at my boss.
I didn't know I was your boss. I'm not your boss. I am... I don't know what I am.
Okay.
Where am I? Who am I? What am I doing here?
Let's see. This unfortunately is not my most recent save. Let's see. Okay. Oh, we have to go to Arcades. Okay. That's not the most...
People are getting real excited in the chat. I have no idea why.
Why are you getting excited?
I don't know. But keep it up. It's good. I like it. We need a little excitement.
All right.
It's really... Oh, but don't call us GameStop. Yeah, the summer is a little bit slow in terms of new releases right now, which I think is probably smart of Square Enix to release this game right now. Because I think
a good point.
one of the things I hear from so many people when they talk about this game is I couldn't keep up with it, or I never gave it a chance back in the day. And
Yeah, I will say, I mean, one of my criticisms is just the onboarding. And
yeah,
I mean, looking back on my very first playthrough of Final Fantasy XII, I probably didn't get the Gambit system until maybe 5 hours into having it introduced
can you
to
go
me.
back to showing the front of his face? What was going on with the lighting there?
Oh.
I don't know if we can recreate it now. What is... Alright, I don't know. His cheeks looks like super weird to me. Man, okay. Sorry. Alright, so we are on the Death Star.
Pretty much. Because we actually do have to rescue the princess.
Right.
I believe.
But they weren't on the Death Star when they rescued the princess. They were on the bigger the ship that can't... Star Destroyer. They were on a Star Destroyer, I think. I don't know.
No, they were on the Death Star.
When they rescued the princess?
You are unharmed?
Vossler,
At the beginning of A New Hope?
Majesty.
It's nothing. I'll be fine. You.
Yes,
Come
me.
on, come on, let's go. What are you waiting for? Panelo's still out there.
That's really
We should
bad voice
hurry.
acting.
They won't be long. We will talk later.
Also, why is this guy wearing armor in space? I guess.
Well, they're not in space.
well,
they are in a
they're
battleship.
they're in space. Come on.
GameStop. Game of Thrones.
See, I'm all about the one with the
Majesty,
that guy.
we will cut you apart.
No, not him.
I will not place my trust in the
No.
sword of a traitor.
Yet trust his sword we must, traitor or no. I see no other way. We track back, commandeer a ship and make our escape.
Who's the guy with the puffy sleeves?
Wait, are we still talking about Final Fantasy 12?
Yeah.
Okay.
Her Majesty cannot abide weakness, least of all in herself. We must make her confront the reality of our plight.
I'm sorry, I was watching the cutscene. What-
No,
what
me
did you
too.
guys say?
I'm waiting for this guy to wrap up. The guy. Oh, he's not in your. He was just standing there. The dude with like the white puffy sleeves and sort of the sweater vest thing going on. Balthier. Balthier?
Balthier.
Balthier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Seinfeld pirate.
That's Bay.
Okay. Hedgehogs. Oh yeah, you can turn off the, as you saw in the previous save file I used, you can actually turn off the lines.
Right.
Targeting lines, as they call it. Let's see.
So the Blood Rose 88 is asking, if I can't control my character, I'm not buying it. You do control your character, but you don't do it actively in combat.
I mean, you could
can't
always change up your commands.
Yeah, you can issue commands like this,
Whatever you want.
But what you're really doing is setting up commands ahead of time. You're basically programming these characters. So even if you're not controlling them during combat, you have control over what they're doing ultimately.
All the things that you were going to be doing anyway. This game just streamlines.
Yeah. But it's certainly easy to imagine how, like, for some people, and it was for me, it was sort of a turnoff where it's like, I don't feel like I have the agency over what's actually happening. But then again, I also didn't get very far into the game, so I can't really speak to that. But everyone who has played it seems to really like it in terms of, people who have played the game to completion.
I mean, I in the initial hours. Oh, look, someone died. Because Fran is spending too much time stealing. Let me.
How good? One of the things I love, and you mentioned this a little bit in your review as it ties into the story, but I love playing as thieves in games because sometimes that's the best. That's the way to get like the best secret armor. I'll bring it back to Final Fantasy Tactics because why the hell not? The Genji armor is like this incredible armor set that you have to get from this vampire character who's very, very strong and dangerous, and to actually be able to survive while stealing his armor, which you have a very low percentage chance of doing, and then still have enough people left to kill him while not losing characters to permadeath was a very rewarding sort of combat scenario for me. So is the thieving stuff in this game more for just like resources and like basic items, or can you actually steal pretty useful equipment from enemies?
You can steal, rare items, not necessarily equipment. But I will say this was the first game that really made me pay attention and value thievery. Well,
okay.
But they do it in a way that it's basically mandatory. After you've killed, your first dozen or so enemies, you realize that they don't have any cash.
Yeah.
And you're wondering, how do I get money? And then maybe
crime is how you get money.
Maybe the game could have been more effective in communicating this, but it's through the selling of all the loot drops and stealing.
Yeah. That's
how you get money. And if you actually sell enough items, you will actually the stores will actually have like these brand new sort of these item bundles as rewards for selling them.
Oh, so there's item bounties.
Yeah,
in a sense.
It's if you go into the shop, they have these things. This aside from buy and sell, they always have a third option called bazaar. So
damn! Wait, you're dying here. What's going on? Am I distracting you, or is this a tough?
Pretty tough, but let's see. Oh, these guys are low. It's been a while since I played with these low level versions, but technically I should be capable of taking the bomb. I've been fooled around with the gambits. Oh yeah, and Ash doesn't have the gambits on.
Now obviously you can equip armor, but that doesn't really have a superficial difference on your character, right? It's just weapons that you actually see.
Correct.
Okay. So that guy who's accompanying you, the knighted one, I don't know his name, Vossler. He doesn't stick around in your party, does he?
No, there's the game does have a number of guest characters. It's sort of like it adds to the story, especially when they can hold their own in the field.
Yeah.
He's definitely not the only character who guest stars.
Are there a lot of deaths?
Just dying in general?
No, like story-based, main characters dying.
There are some nice twists, and I've seen my share of like write-ups. Just playing this in the context of like this decade and like how much in pop culture right now we're just so crazy about Game of Thrones. There are some sort of like Game of Thrones level. Sort of like twists and whatnot.
Yeah, Monsanto's games have always sort of echoed that in a way.
And even like the sort of, I guess, the different factions. They're referred to as houses.
Yeah.
Like House Solidor. That also something weird. Let's see. I am spending more time fighting than I am paying attention to the map. And
How is the dungeon design in general? Because when I was playing a little bit, I also turned this map on. I don't know that I felt confused, but I felt like, well, why not?
right,
But then I realized I wasn't playing the dungeon; I was playing the map.
right. It it sort of reminds me of like how Metal Gear Solid almost just feels like Pac-Man because
Right.
you're playing the radar.
Exactly.
It's okay.
I think I
We're
probably would have
okay.
preferred an option to adjust the
knows you've
translucency
escaped.
of that
You
on-screen
must
map,
hurry.
maybe a shade lighter.
Yeah.
You are Captain Ivalice. You will follow me. We must reach the airships before they do.
You would let us leave knowing who we are.
Lady Ash, by all rights, you ought not even to exist. That you and Captain Ronsenberg were made to appear dead is like a hidden thread laid bare. Your actions hereafter will pull at that thread, and we will see what
And
it
yeah,
unravels.
I mean, if you're really big fans of
This
Vagrant
is our
Story,
chance. We
this
must
was
see this through and
translated,
get to the bottom of it. I
co-translated
believe
by the same
'tis for the good of
translator,
Dalmasca
Alexander O. Smith.
and the good of the
yeah.
Empire.
Who's had a hand in a lot of games. A very influential translator.
Very well then.
And I've heard some of my
Thanks,
peers
Lamont.
mention sort of the
I
Shakespearean
must
style of
apologize.
writing. Apparently, there is a little bit of iambic
you.
pentameter with
May it bring you
some
good
of the,
fortune.
Thanks.
how certain characters speak.
I'm just glad it's not like
Let us go.
that sort of like ye old English
Right.
speak, like they
Like
they
Fair
put
speak.
into Final Fantasy Tactics for the War of the Lions remake. You assholes. Sorry.
No, as I recall, that wasn't like your main gripe about the game. It's just something about frame rate or just like the speed.
They slowed down the animations in combat purposefully, which basically had the opposite effect of what this remaster does. Stupid. But it also added in like a couple new classes, I think, and like PvP and all this great stuff. Final Fantasy Tactics is a real tragic game. One I'll never stop talking about.
War of the Lions.
No, I mean, even the original one is tragic in the sense that the localization is not good. Like, it's got some weird quirks to the script that just don't really make sense and make following the story, which is confusing already, even more difficult. And you know you're playing the lesser version when you play that because it's missing out on some classes and this, that, and the other. So, like, there is, in my opinion, a better version of the game, but there is no perfect version of Final Fantasy Tactics, which would incorporate, features from both of the games. Drakey Poo, no, there is no Vita release for this. Vita's dead. Sorry. Buried it a long time ago. I love my Vita, actually.
Do they have enough healing gambits set? Because I think we are at the front door of a boss fight. Cure, potion, set a gambit to heal. We got some high potions.
The soundtrack has some like industrial like house music shit weird going on. It's very one note. Mike Mahardy's been talking about playing Final Fantasy Tactics for a while, and I gave him my Vita, but I couldn't find my charging cable, so he's waiting for that to come in. Apparently, he's going to play it, and I can't wait to hear all the ways it's just like XCOM, and like, oh, the XCOM did it better. Mike's wrong. That's okay.
I just finished this chat with Mike about XCOM. I
Such
didn't
a
know it's
great
coming out on the
shame.
same day
I
as
must
Rabbit.
confess, I thought you the
Yeah.
one who would help us restore peace to Dalmasca. No matter, we hold the proof of your royal lineage. A maid of passing resemblance will serve our purposes now. As for you, my dear, the Empire requires you no more!
So this guy's a judge.
What was
What's
that?
up with judges?
The Nephesite.
There are like a bunch of Darth Vaders in the game.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's like Darth Vader, but he's not the one.
There's like 5
Your
of them.
Majesty
Yeah.
does not disappoint. Ever quick to spurn an honorable surrender, as was your
So
father.
they're just Siths. Let's just call them
Yeah,
Siths.
they're Siths.
Yeah.
You know nothing of my father!
Yeah, I gotta get Fran to stop stealing. So then again, the boss might have something worth stealing.
How do you feel about XCOM 2? I'm gonna bring it back to that real quick. But you gotta keep playing. That's the trick.
Actually, we are under embargo.
No, I mean just in general, not about.
Oh, XCOM 2.
Yeah.
I haven't.
I'll tell you how you feel about it.
I haven't taken to the procedural like map aspect of it.
And I've tried playing that game so many times, and I don't. It's not that I don't get it, but I don't get why people love it. Let's put it that way.
How do you compare it to the original XCOM?
I didn't play the original XCOM, but I don't think that disqualifies my opinion.
Right. Okay.
Frankly.
I mean, I thought it was a bold direction for a sequel to have a premise where basically
Story doesn't matter, and you just sort of wrap mechanics around procedural missions? Yeah.
Wow.
I'm sorry, what are you saying?
Have you and Marty been talking about this a lot on the lobby? Because clearly
it comes up often. But I tried playing XCOM 2 last week because I was like, all right, there's an expansion coming out. It's pretty big. Maybe I'll tackle that expansion. And Mike tells me XCOM 2 is so good. Maybe his favorite game ever. I don't get it. There are aliens. We're soldiers. Let's move one square at a time and stop those aliens.
I mean, I could see why he would like it a lot, but I'm surprised it's anyone's favorite game. Well, you know, just
We all have wrong opinions.
right. Gosh, what's my wrong opinion? What's my one standout wrong opinion? I don't know.
Mine, well,
I need to. I think I need to accept the fact that I think over time, Metal Gear Solid 3 doesn't age as well as I wish it did.
have you played the 3DS version? You played Devil's Advocate.
Yes.
So I would argue, although I haven't played the HD remastered version, but I also don't know if it carries over the most important feature in the 3D version. Well, there are two. The 3D version lets you aim in first person, but it also lets you walk while crouching, which the PlayStation 2 version did not, which is a pretty big deal. There you go. That version holds up, I think.
I think I'm just.
What is it about?
I'm just like recalling the cumbersomeness of the camouflage system.
You know, every time I play that game, I just eventually just forget about using all that.
Yeah.
It's just not. Yeah, it's pretty cumbersome.
I mean, the one thing that I will always have a soft spot for it was the very first stealth game I played, where I was rewarded for like going into a new area, not doing a single thing until I had studied all the enemy sort of patrol patterns, and just taking all this visual information in, and then going to and then clearing it out, getting every item, knocking everyone out, and getting to the exit of that area without ever being seen. And that was the first time I ever experienced that in a stealth game.
We've secured an Atomos. Come.
An Atomos? All skiff, no ship. Hardly fit for a
no
living
ship.
man. So I can fight
So
You're mad.
who is it? Someone just said, yeah, 0HXC07, no crouch walk in the PS3 version. There you go.
I'm sorry?
There's no crouch walk in the PS3 version of Snake Eater.
Not yet.
Jeez, how does that affect the overall experience?
Oh. It lets you hide and attack simultaneously.
What an odd thing to remove.
Well, that's the thing, is they didn't really remove it if they just ported the PlayStation version, because it was added to the 3DS version.
They hasn't gone too fast.
Yeah.
They'd have noticed.
Anyway. Zero apparently knows MGS3 very well. I'm glad that my memory served me correctly.
Yeah,
'cause I always worry about declaring facts.
I love
live on the internet.
Yeah, I mean, and just going from like the Snake Eater version to the Subsistence version,
Yeah.
and when they freed up that camera,
Yeah.
it was like practically a new game.
Yeah. Yeah, those little changes can have a huge difference.
Your handkerchief. I thought you might want it back.
I shall wear it close to my heart.
Jeez, who is going to review? Is anyone
Perhaps
from our
you
team
forget
like
all
called
that
dibs?
Ondor has wrought.
No one's called dibs yet.
I do not
Maybe I'll
forget
auction it
Majesty.
off. I really don't like that guy's armor. What the hell is that?
that we were able to
He looks
free
like a
you.
license board, like a walking
He looks-
You
license
must
board.
meet with him, Your Highness, and give ear to his words.
It almost seems inspired
He may
by
act in league
terracotta
with the Empire,
warriors.
but his heart
Yeah,
is
no, I
not.
know what you're talking about. That is weird.
It is as he says.
His armor
I
before
ought
was so
not
much
have
better.
kept Ondor at so great a
He's got
distance
shorts on?
for so long a time.
And we can't blame Tetsuya
I have
Nomura for
played
this
the
either.
fool.
Well, we can. We might not be right about it.
Majesty, I would ask you for some time.
God.
On
no
our own, we
zippers.
struggle in vain to
Why
restore
didn't- why-
Dalmasca. I must
The
search
shorts
out
are
some other
weird.
way. Until I should find it, I would have Bosch remain at your side.
Bosh.
Doubt him you may.
I would
but
like
I
Sean
measure
Connery
his
to voice
loyalty
one of
to
these characters.
Dalmasca no less
Dalmasca.
than my own.
I know you would
Man,
not speak so
I miss.
lightly. Very well.
Sean Connery?
No, I miss doing
Keep her
impressions
well.
without being so
Go to
self-conscious.
Ondor and
Oh.
there await my return.
I mean, we all go through our Sean Connery phase, our Christopher Walken phase.
I learned early on I cannot do Christopher Walken.
Yeah,
I let other people do it.
right.
That's not me.
I mean, I do. You know, Jay Moore does not get enough credit for being a better impressionist than Kevin Spacey. The one thing I would like to jump to next is what they call the trial mode, which is
So the judges put you on trial?
pretty much. Well, it's an enemy rush,
That's a
Mode.
lot of save games. I was gonna
and
say
these
that.
aren't even all my save games. I mean,
Jesus Christ.
the last 20 hours of my playthrough has been at home, and I've been too lazy to. I forgot to transfer my most latest save file for this live stream. So, there are 100 levels, which I believe has most, if not all, of the enemies you'll encounter in the game. With Ash being in the 60s, I believe we're probably going to last maybe no more than 30 rounds. But it goes by quickly because we got 4 times speed.
Did you ever? This kind of reminds me of the. I forget how it was phrased, but it was sort of like the trials or like the little arena mode in Final Fantasy VII and the Golden Saucer.
I never played that.
Oh,
I never played the saucer. I played 7. but-
Oh man, so Golden Saucer was great distraction. I actually really liked finding that in the game. But one of the things it has is this little, it's more like a stage, and you walk onto the stage, and it runs a roulette wheel, and the roulette wheel will give you various conditions that are handicaps, or no, not handicaps. They're hindrances, right? So it's like everyone's poisoned, or no one can use magic, stuff like that. And if you get these really difficult ones, which you earn by winning fight after fight, you can get some really high-level gear and like some materia that's pretty rare, and just some like X potions or stuff like that that's super useful. And it was always like rolling the dice because you never really knew what you were going to get with that roulette wheel. That was a hell of a lot of fun. But though I guess this is probably more aptly compared to the what are they, towers in Disgaea? I don't know if you play much Disgaea. They've got like floored challenges that I think they're like hundreds of them or something like that.
In a game where like the max level is 9,999.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, I don't even know if there is a max level anymore. These games are nuts.
You get congratulated every 10 rounds, and you get these items that can transfer to the main game,
Like handkerchiefs.
which actually is very good when you get
Runny nose.
the oil status ailment.
Just wipe the oil off. You couldn't do that anyway? I forgot they don't bathe. Ah, that's right.
No, that's not free to play.
Paul Sutherland makes a good point. Someone asks, is this game free to play? And he says, no game is free to play because every game takes a little piece of us with it.
Yeah, so in this mode you do get LP, which you can which applies to the main game, but you do not get XP.
Miguel is pointing to a sheet of paper so that I remind you that we are watching, well, he's playing, I'm watching, Final Fantasy XII The Zodiac Age, a remastered of a underappreciated PlayStation 2 RPG that falls within a perhaps overappreciated RPG series. But this is one that not many people played, and it's been remastered for PlayStation 4. Not on Vita, Not on PC, not on Xbox One. It's PS4 exclusive. And Miguel, how far are you into the game at this point when you hit these trials?
I'm about halfway through the game, and I'm already getting my butt kicked.
And this is a save. He's already gotten much farther than this. This is sort of a save that he's reverting to for the stream. Oh, Matt does a good impression of me? Oh, wow. I need to see that.
Wait, which Matt?
I don't know. Matt Espinelli, maybe? Unless there's another Matt out there I don't know about. I only know of one Matt. Like, in the world.
Well, this is not right. Let's see here. Wow, we've got 2 bosses in a row. That's tough.
Oh, Matt Paget. It could be Matt Paget. Huh. Either way, I can't imagine. I mean, you know, we're all self-aware, but to a point. I know I can be grumpy and sort of fly off the handle, but I don't know what. Man, yeah. What would an impression of me be like? Okay, here we go. Damn Dingo is defending Mike. XCOM 2 is great. Mike is right. I'm not mad at you, though, Pete. It's not for everyone. You know what? No game is for everyone, unless we're talking about Tetris. That game is for everyone. I will say, Damn Dingo, that you are right, but I will not concede that Mike is right. I'm sorry, but this goes beyond XCOM 2. Mike is just wrong, in general.
I'm thinking about XCOM 2 and its procedurally generated maps. Are there any roguelikes you really like?
No.
Okay. Oh yeah, these guys. I remember. Well, nice thing about the trials is that the enemy makeup of each stage does not change, and it looks like I will fail in stage 17.
Looks like these guys belong in the Dark Crystal or something.
I said that about maybe not those enemies, but another set of enemies.
All right, let's see. We are closing in on the hour mark. What do you got left to show us? What is the final act of our stream?
Well, we showed a surprising amount of story that I wasn't expecting to show. We can just chill out at a beach.
Just chill. All right.
The Fawn Coast.
I mean, you've got a nice sheen. I'm really pale and white. I could use some sun. Hello.
A couple dudes are sparring.
Vendor of goods.
Yes, and as I mentioned before, you know, one thing that does keep the veterans on their toes is that they have mixed up the inventories of the merchants. So certain items, certain favorite items, like I only have one embroidered tippet, which doubles the amount of XP you earn, and I got one just out of luck from opening up a chest in one of the later areas. In the previous game, apparently you could buy it from certain merchants, but not this time.
Man. You know what I want to see before we close out eventually is a summon. The Espers.
Oh yeah, we can do. Let's see, we can do an Esper. Oh yeah, and we should do a mist attack.
I don't know what that is, but I can't wait to see it.
It's a special attack with a little bit of a roulette component.
Okay. What can you cannot ride chocobos in this, can you?
You can.
Oh, well.
But they're kind of, even though there's like one area where I needed to use it to reach a part of the story. Here's the problem with the 4x speed. Just getting that prompt to appear. There you go. Because of just like
that's weird.
How the game takes you away from actual combat and how much combat is essential to leveling up.
So
chocobos are basically like
get out of jail free card.
Yeah.
Are they limited in their use?
Just
oh yeah, I can see it counting down.
Right.
So you have chocobo time.
Chocobo time.
Okay. It's like snack time, but
yeah, which you can renew with just all greens.
Right.
Oh yeah, there's this 4x speed plus sprinting. It's one blurry chocobo.
I'm gonna call the cops. This guy's speeding. Looking at it is like making me nervous. I don't know why.
All right, we are going to just basically lay waste to the field with some
Quickening.
quickening is the special attacks, but here's the summons.
Oh wait, it's just hanging out with you?
He's hanging out with you and just really kicking ass. But
I was hoping for the spectacle of it all.
oh, there's a spectacle, but his timer needs to run out. He's got this little clock,
Oh,
the
okay.
tiny, tiny clock icon.
Can you so it'll run out between battles?
It's
Okay.
gonna run out maybe in a minute.
Okay.
I forget where he went.
Can't wait for it to run out.
Yeah, I mean,
God, give that guy some animation. He's just thrusting his chest forward.
let's see. I don't know what kind of special attacks he gets.
Oh, so he's got his whole his own thing that you can.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
he can cast
But he
those.
doesn't have like gambits that you can apply to him, does he?
No.
Okay.
And he needs to. Gosh, I need to run really. What's he do? How am I curing my? Oh wait, I got a freaking. I have mirror mail.
And you're just.
Uh-oh. Okay. I'm reaching a new area
Cheetah Uplands.
while the summons is on, so it's sounding a lot more dramatic than it really is. Okay, here
My time has run out. That's it. Oh, okay.
we go. Yeah, they always do a nice finish, assuming they're targeting an enemy. If not, they'll just disappear. I mean, it's no Knights of the Round, but it's flashy.
No. No one actually wanted. I mean, people wanted Knights of the Round, but to use it in combat was just a pain in the ass. I'm honest. It was cool like the first 10 times you use it, and then it's just enough. is
Now,
enough.
what was Sephiroth's attack with where he destroys the planets? I forget what it's called.
Maybe it was a form of Ultima. I don't think so, because you could
Alright.
get Ultima yourself.
Now, the other thing I want to show are the quickenings.
Yeah.
Which is special attacks. So as you advance through the license board, everyone unlocks 3 quickenings.
That's such a that's a weird term, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you have to you can keep doing them as long as one of the names in your party is highlighted, and then you press the corresponding button.
Like when? Now?
At the start of the next quickening. So there's a timer, so that's the reason why I'm button mashing. So as long as the timer doesn't run out, you can just keep stringing these attacks together.
This is kind of weird.
Yeah. But the more you do it,
The quickening.
the more powerful,
the quickener
the
you
more, the
get.
more hit points you'll take off. Let's see. And if at any point all 3 names are grayed out, then you have to hit the R2 button, and it will start this sort of roulette rotation. And when it stops, you have to hope that one of them is highlighted. If not, you got to hit R2 again.
Whoa. Do they get into why he has that scar?
Actually, yes. I think it appears in the prologue.
Oh, it does?
I think so. Or he gets when he gets captured and beaten up.
Okay.
I must be strong.
Blood Rose, I'm sorry, I didn't have a boss queued up for
Yeah.
this.
We're
display.
just showing off stuff.
I must endure.
Oh my god. God.
Well, there's a benefit to just like stringing them. I mean, you can like get the most powerful finishing attack. I believe if you can do like 4.
Is he gonna do that punch thing again?
Yeah, like 4 like level 3 attacks plus 4 level 2 attacks. There are these like 8 different or 10 different sort of like elemental based finishers. So I ran out of time. I was able to pull off 10 hits.
Oh my God, the cutting. Just do a thing.
It's overkill. And then you find out which one you get. So it's sort of like a light-based finisher. Totally unnecessary for an enemy this level.
Right.
So there we go.
Gosh.
And Bosch just leveled up.
Well, I think that's a pretty good look at this game. Is there anything else you want to showcase?
No, we went over some of the options. We did show the multiplier, the changes in sound, and yeah. I was just grateful that we've had like so many opportunities to show off this game, both today and a couple times with Callie. And if you go on our YouTube channel, you should be able to find a whole bunch of other gameplay sort of highlights of the Zodiac Age.
Cool. Well, thank you for joining us, everyone. Again, this has been Final Fantasy XII, the Zodiac Age, and we are doing this on our 11 o'clock a.m. Pacific slot. Every single day, we will have a live stream of some sort on GameSpot. So be sure to subscribe on Twitch or on YouTube, or come to GameSpot and watch us. Thank you for watching today. This has been a lot of fun. Miguel, thank you for playing Final Fantasy XII and sharing your expert knowledge.
My pleasure.
Can't wait to play this game, but I'm also a little bit worried it's going to be too weird for me. But we'll find out, won't we? All right, everyone. Thanks a lot. Have a beautiful day. Take care.